There was a time when I was alone, nowhere to go and no place to call home. My only friend was the man in the moon. Even sometimes he would go away too. Then one night as I closed my eyes, I saw a shadow flying high. He came to me with the sweetest smile, told me he wanted to talk for a while. He said, Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. And ever since that day, there was...
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Electrical Lessons, Unique Vibrations. And I have here with me Alexander Taylor. Alexander Taylor, will you go ahead and tell us a few things about yourself, like what do you do, who you are, just anything that you want to share.
Okay. So first off, everybody calls me Alexander Taylor, but my birth name is actually Avery. And some people will actually know me as either the Aquarian Dragon on YouTube, or again, Dragon Boy, as like Mel likes to call me.
I love calling you Dragon Boy. Got Dragon Boy and Wolf Boy. Everybody was confused. I'm like, no, that's the wrong Alex.
Everybody gets me and Wolf Boy mixed up. And for all you little vampire freaks, no, there is no white vampire between me and him.
Oh my god! And what's really crazy is you're native and he's white, but I call him Wolf Boy. But the thing is
the
reason why I call him Wolf Boy is, well, because there's a bunch of wolves watching.
Yeah, his spirit form, I would say, more or less. But again, I've been practicing my quote-unquote craft, if you really want to call it that, since the age of 4. Again, I've worked with the spirits from the age of 4 and onwards. And again, I started getting into oracle cards and tarot cards at the age of 8. Again, the first 2 spirits to fully work with me were both Lucifer and Lilith, and then from then on, I started delving into all these other various spirits and gaining a deeper understanding of the spiritual world. And then again, because I am Native American and part white, although I fully just kind of black sheeped the white side of my family, namely my dad, I've learned a lot about the Native American tradition on my mother's side, and then we had the witches on my dad's side. So I pretty much had the best of both worlds. But at the same time, I kind of delved a little bit into both the dark and light aspects of magic. And again, for someone who's the age of 20, I would say it's not necessarily a bad repertoire of things that I've accomplished over the years. And still currently, I'm literally still working on my first book, Spirit Speaks, The Art of Mediumship, for my Spirit Speaks series, for my book series that I'm working on too. I barely have that in the works. But that's pretty much everything I'm going to tell you guys, because that literally sums up everything about me.
Now, if anybody was to ask me, it depends on who's asking. For somebody of his age, I don't think I've ever met anybody in the ballpark of your age that knows as much as you do. Now, there's one other person that comes into mind. It's a female, and she's about 24, 25, but yet still when it comes to spiritual knowledge and coming into like knowing fully, like into your heritage and being trained and all that, you still got quite a bit one up on her. And a lot of the souls now that are here, and I tell people this all the time, the elder souls are in younger bodies, and And when it comes to like the age of the soul, like I look at it like kind of differently than most, because it's like some people are just more soul advanced, to where some people are still like in other stages, and a lot of it ties into like reincarnation and all of that. Now, I have met a couple of people where like it's like their soul is older than God, and that's pretty goddamn fucking old if you ask me for an old soul. And that's the term that I like to use, older than God. And I am going to touch a little bit based on into astrology, because I have to, of course, you know, because Aquarian essence. And we are both Aquariuses. I am a double Cancer. He is a double Aquarius. And
literally polar opposite.
Like, it's weird. And I think we both kind of flow through pretty well on our masculine and feminine side, which we're going to get into. Oh God, we're going to touch base on a couple of different things, and I'm going to fucking cuss a lot and probably talk a lot of shit. And I do want to dedicate a little part of this little episode out to the little wiry little white kid named Justin, the Virgo Leo. It's a good thing that I'm doing it in this episode, because some of the other episodes I wanted to do, I would have been a little bit more brutal. I've calmed down a little bit. But speaking of that, I was asked where my spiritual level was, where I was at spiritually, like in my intellectual knowing, and was told that if I didn't know the 7 Hermetics, then I wasn't spiritual. And I was like, you mean the 7 Hermetics out of the 12 universal laws? And so the 12 universal laws, which I actually have right here in one of my grimoires, because I like to be able to have, like, show physical things. So the law of divine oneness, the law of vibration, law of action, law of correspondence, the cause and effect. And let's see here. I'm going to skip ahead to law of gender and law of being fucking polarized. Okay, like
Well, if you really want to get into the 12 laws in their respective order, it would technically be the law of divine oneness, the law of vibration, the law of action, the law of correspondence, the laws of
you know them in order. That's not fair. You're cheating, because you have them memorized in order.
Which I quote, the law of cause and effect is actually number 5, which actually goes to show you that the law of karma isn't as important as the first 3, which again is wholeness, oneness, everything as one, vibration, which is literally who we are, and the action that we take. Again, owning up to what we do is very important, because we have to own up to our own actions, which is actually in the law
Yes, it
of
is.
action itself. But bringing in number 4 is actually the law of correspondence, which is something that everybody takes for granted, because we all need certain correspondences in the physical world to attune to certain energies and frequencies, which also help to correlate into both vibration and action, which is very important. But at the same time, with the 5th law of the cause and effect, it helps the correspondences, because it teaches us that with certain actions, we'll always have a reaction.
And law of action is one too. And then there is the law of transmuting energy.
The 6th law, the law of, what is it? Compensation, which no one remembers, is the law of compensation. Then you have the law of attraction, which is the 7th law, which, again, it's important, yes, but it's the 7th law. But everybody nitpicks the laws.
Yes, they do.
The 8th law being the law of perpetual of transmutation of energy. The 9th law being the law of relativity, which, again, we could thank Einstein for, because of his theory of relativity, which I've actually read the theory of relativity and many of Einstein's work, and most of the things that I've done and correlated into my own spiritual practice
Found flaws in you.
had became based off the theories that he has written.
Yeah.
And that's basically how I started deep
And
scientific studies.
then keep going, because
the-
it's not fair. Yeah, that fucking brain of yours.
The 10th law being the law of polarity, which again like attracts like duality and things like that. 11 being the law of rhythm, so again that mariachi type rhythm, and that steady drum beat or heartbeat is basically the law of rhythm, that everything is constantly moving.
Yes, everything.
And then number 12, the final law, one of the key important laws, which isn't necessarily as important or isn't as direct as you would think, is the law of gender. And let's get into this topic with the law of gender, because a lot of people think that gender is just male and female. And again, with today's LGBT community, yes, I may be gay myself, but back in the day, the definition for this particular aspect of people, and I'm trying to say this respectfully, is in some of the Native American traditions, they would be called two souls or double soul people. And it was taken as a sacred thing, because not only could these individuals and people see in the eyes of another gender, but they can incorporate both halves into themselves, utilizing both the law of gender with the law of oneness, and to see the different perspectives as a whole. And that is something that a lot of people have taken for granted in today's world, is the influences that the sacred laws or the universal laws have within the physical universe. And even on the spiritual level, if you were to think about each of these 12 laws, there's a lot of things that on a spiritual level, they can help us to not necessarily just attune to, but completely understand. And especially when it comes to working with magic and creating something from nothing, is one, it's not necessarily impossible to conjure in, let's say, a physical element, like how on Doctor Strange they can materialize their weapons from nothingness. It's nothing as fancy as that, because humans are dumbasses and we can't really do something like that, especially in today's society with
But alchemy, though, is very much something that we do and we experience, but nobody ever really pays attention to it, because alchemy is, that taking something and, taking something of silver turning into gold, it's alchemy. Like magic is very much a form of alchemy, but it's just a different aspecting of it, because magic is everywhere. Everything is magic, and magic is everywhere. It's a lot of it's perception, and a lot of it is
energy. Energy is everywhere.
Yeah.
Energy is also perception, and it keeps everything moving. And some of the things that other people take for granted, especially with the use of this energy, is everybody thinks that it's all fun and games, using energy to do random things and this and that, and utilizing it for personal gain as well as helping others. But the thing that they don't understand about it is that there is a natural order of things, which again gets back into the universal law. Is again, we can manipulate things, yes, but there is a natural order. And sometimes what we do, especially as energy workers, spellcasters, pagan witches, so many different names for everybody, shamans, medicine men, we tamper with the natural energy to create a physical, tangible change within the environment. And sometimes, and this is where it gets important with the definition of light workers, because one, no one is a fucking light worker, because the manipulation of energy is dark in nature, because again, you're taking something of the natural order of things and you're manipulating it to your own benefit or to your own will or use. And at the same time, in if you guys start thinking of this, is not only can that be dangerous, but sometimes it also has a very horrendous outcome, because things that we think could be beneficial may not be as beneficial as we would think somewhere later down the line. Because again,
the devil is always in the details.
There's always something that has to be given back in return.
Yes.
And something will have to right itself. And that's the things that everybody takes for granted, is because everybody wants and wants and wants, but they're not willing to look at the consequences that are sitting right in front of them.
Those who are not willing to give, though, not realizing that it's when you take from one place, it's like